You know what I'm saying? Like, man, that was devastating. It's just like, oh my God. Tupac was the first rapper to me that could make you cry. I wrote Afeni a note and drew a picture. She understood I was such a huge Tupac fan. And she's like the sweetest lady ever, man. She was just like, do what you feel.
Hi, I'm Afeni Shakur.
I told you can't trust you. Now Puffy done killed Tupac, man.
When I die, I want my last words to be, I did it.
She looked me dead in the eye and said, Diddy had something to do with my son's death, and he wasn't working alone. That's what Eminem told his friend and longtime producer Luis Resto just weeks after Tupac's mom, Afeni Shakur, passed away in 2016. Now here's what almost no one knows. Eminem was personally invited to visit Afeni during her final months, not for music, but because she believed he was one of the only artists who truly understood her son's mind and his enemies.
I always knew that Tupac was talented and creative, but the other thing I always knew was the weight that he carried.
And according to people close to M, Afeni didn't just point fingers at Diddy. She exposed something much bigger. See, Afeni wasn't just Tupac's mom. She was a former Black Panther who went toe-to-toe with the FBI and beat federal conspiracy charges while pregnant with Tupac.
If the people want me to go on trial, I'm ready to stand trial for the people. You know, I feel like I haven't done anything. Committed any crimes against the people. And if the people want to put me on trial, I say right on to that.
Afeni saw how the government infiltrates movements, manipulates culture, and uses Black messengers as weapons. So when she told Eminem that Diddy had state protection, she wasn't speaking in metaphors. She meant it literally. As you all probably know, Tupac was being watched closely by the feds, but Afeni believed the surveillance didn't stop even after his death. And she told Eminem she suspected Diddy's rise wasn't just about talent or timing, it was about access. She claimed Diddy had deep connections with certain law enforcement figures who were present in New York when Tupac was shot at the Quad Studios in 1994. And these same figures later appeared linked to his murder in Vegas. And one of these people was former NYPD detective Derek Parker, known as the hip-hop cop. Parker was very close to Diddy back then. However, he's been trying to hide this ever since all those allegations surfaced. And he even deleted all photos of him and Diddy from his Instagram. Now, what's really sketchy is that Derek was in Las Vegas after the Tupac murder and also in LA when Biggie was gunned down. And many believe he was there on Diddy's behalf as a Fed informant. But it wasn't just Derek. Diddy also had close ties to two other crooked NYPD cops, David Mack and Kevin Gaines. And get this, Mack and Gaines were pictured at the scene of Biggie's murder in 1997. And this is all the info that Afeni gave to Eminem. She believed Diddy, LAPD, and NYPD were all involved in both Tupac and Biggie's deaths. And she also showed M a letter Tupac wrote just weeks before he died, where he warned he was being set up by someone. Tupac wrote about how many fake people there were around him, and he even said that his only fear of death is coming back reincarnated. And according to Afeni, Tupac knew that Diddy was working not just against him, but against his own artists, including Biggie.
He doesn't care about Tupac. He never cared about Tupac.
So according to Eminem's producer, Luis Resto, Eminem confided that Afeni told him directly that Diddy was involved in both murders, Tupac and Biggie. See, Afeni believed that Tupac's death was a setup orchestrated by people in the music industry who were under surveillance and protected. And she told Eminem she had been warned not to dig too deep. But Afeni knew the real truth, and she even talked about it in interviews, claiming that the whole East Coast versus West Coast beef was orchestrated from above to keep artists divided while the higher-ups profit from tragedies.
They want to do an interview. Whatever it is that makes us buy things, you know, has created a false illusion of a rift between artists and between human beings. I don't want people to think that there is in reality people are running around, we don't like people from the East Coast and we don't like people from the West Coast. I don't think that's true. And it's all up in the magazine, so we didn't have time to
hustling every day with someone.
or with some entity.
Now, as for Eminem, this just confirmed what he already suspected, that Diddy was a gatekeeper who worked for those same higher-ups who orchestrated the war between East Coast and West Coast artists. Eminem even wrote a letter to Afeni to let him know he will spread the truth and honor Tupac's legacy. In this letter, Eminem addressed Afeni as a true queen and thanked her for everything she's done for him. Em wrote, "You are a true queen, and I mean that in every sense of the word. I will never forget the opportunities you have given me. You will always be in my heart, my thoughts, and my prayers." Eminem also talked about how much Tupac influenced him, saying, "You have no idea how much your son and his music have inspired not only the hip-hop world, but, speaking for myself, has inspired my whole career. He was and still is the true definition of a soldier." See, Eminem always had a special place in his heart for Tupac, and he said that losing Tupac was like losing a brother.
It's a chorus by Edgar Winter. And as he's singing the chorus, you'll hear Tupac coming in. Basically, it was his last interview that he did.
Now, as for Eminem's belief that Diddy was involved in Tupac's death, he didn't just hint at it. He directly accused Diddy of ordering the hit. On his 2018 MGK diss track, Kill Shot, Eminem raps, "Kells, the day you put out a hit is the day Diddy admits that he put the hit out that got Pac killed." And get this, Kill Shot was released on September 14th, just one day after the anniversary of Tupac's death. As for Diddy's response, right after Eminem dropped that bar in Kill Shot, Joe Budden claimed that Diddy told him he'd respond.
He apparently called Diddy, and Diddy mentioned that he heard Eminem's track, and according to Budden, Diddy said to Joe, "I'm going to handle it." Budden later says, "Nothing to talk about." Puff said it's in his hands, and he said, "I can say it." And that's the end of that, period.
But despite all that touch talk, Diddy stayed quiet and never actually responded directly to Eminem. Now, remember the murder rap documentary about Tupac and Biggie's murders? Well, it was based on Detective Greg Kading's investigation, and it pretty much pointed the finger directly at Diddy. Detective Kading said in the documentary that he was convinced Diddy hired Crips gang member Keefe D to kill Tupac, and that Keefe's nephew Orlando Baby Lane Anderson pulled the trigger. So when this doc started getting attention, Diddy showed up on The Breakfast Club, and as soon as Charlemagne tried to bring up the claims that he had Tupac killed, things got tense fast, and Diddy cut him off to say he wasn't entertaining any nonsense.
Now, it was this documentary that claimed, which we know wasn't true.
Yeah, check this out. We don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to go there, with all due respect, but I appreciate you as a journalist asking. Thank you.
Because you, listen, 7 years ago, I'd have been like, yo, did you hire somebody to kill Pac? But no, you do it like a journalist.
Yeah, no, I mean, we wouldn't even get into nonsense like that. You know what I'm saying? It's nonsense.
Which we never believed, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
But let's go back to Afeni, because she didn't just blame Diddy. She believed there were people even more powerful than him who were pulling the strings. Afeni told Eminem that after the Quad studio shooting in '94, Diddy gained access to a level of protection even Suge Knight never had. But Afeni believed it went higher than crooked cops. She claimed a federal task force tied to COINTELPRO was monitoring both Death Row and Bad Boy at the same time, and escalating the conflict behind the scenes. Afeni told Eminem, "They used our boys as weapons. The machine needed both of them dead." Now, this next part is where we get to the real stuff. By 1996, Tupac was bigger than rap. He was building a political movement through his art, starting community initiatives and publicly speaking out against the elites.
This world is such a, and when I say this world, I mean it. I don't mean in an ideal sense. I mean in every day, every little thing you do. It's such a, gimme, gimme, gimme. Everybody back off. You know, everybody's like, you taught that from school, everywhere. Big business. You want to be successful? You want to be like Trump? Gimme, gimme, gimme. Push, 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 push. Step, step, step. Crush, crush, crush. There's no way that these people should own planes and their people don't have houses, apartments, shacks, drawers, pants. If they earned it, then I think that that's good, and I think that they deserve it. Even if you earned it, you still owe. Because look at me, I don't have that mega money, but I feel guilty walking by somebody. I gotta give them some mail. And if I know I got $3,000 in my pocket, I feel like it's wrong to give that person a quarter or $1. It's wrong. Only you know what you got in your pocket. And that's wrong. No matter what they do, if they take it and drink it, they take it and drink it. But I mean, you got. You understand? And we all know how hard it is, and it's not about if you good or you bad. So since it's not about if you good or you bad, we know that because he don't got don't mean he was bad. Or don't mean he's a criminal, or don't mean he's crazy or a drug addict, or none of that. It just means he don't got. And ain't it bad that you got 30? I mean, can you imagine somebody having $32 million? $32 million. And this person has nothing? And you can sleep? You can still go to the movies about, and then these are the type of people that get humanitarian awards. Millionaires. How can they be humanitarians by the fact that they millionaires and there's so many poor people shows how unhumane they are? You know what I'm saying? And that bugs me. Not saying that when I'm never gonna be rich and you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying it's a struggle, and I think everybody deserves it. And I think there's a way to pay these people. I think there is a way. It just takes to be revolutionary. Okay. I got an idea. No more porno buildings. You know what I'm saying? Let's build houses. Or no more polo games. Let's build houses for poor people. You know what I'm saying? Or look, okay, I know you're rich. I know you got $40 billion, but can you just keep it to one house? You only need one house. And if you only got 2 kids, can you just keep it to 2 rooms? I mean, why have 52 rooms and you know there's somebody with no room? It just don't make sense to me. It don't. And then these people celebrate Christmas. They got big trees, huge trees, all the little trimmings. Everybody got gifts, and then somebody starving. And they're having a white Christmas. They're having a great Christmas, eggnog and the whole nine. It's not fair to me.
And Tupac wasn't just talking about being a revolutionary, he was taking real action. In one of his last interviews from 1996, just months before his death, Tupac said he wanted to leave the music industry for good and start his own movie production company.
No doubt, working on my little production company, movie production company. We got a lot of good things happening, so I'm just, if I say it right now, the way my luck has been going, it'll all fall through. But if I said it, you go, oh, that's really nice. But just give me a month, just so I can lock it down, then I'll tell everybody. But it's good stuff. I just want to push the envelope and work. I want to move further away from the music and go start waning myself into the acting more.
And this is why the higher-ups feared Tupac. He was much more than a rapper. He wanted to unite people and expose the whole system, not just the music industry. And this is why Afeni Shakur always believed it was bigger than Diddy. Afeni told Eminem they needed a clean rapper to export, someone corporate-friendly. Tupac wasn't that, Diddy was. But sadly, shortly after Afeni shared all this with Eminem, she was found dead at her home in Sausalito, supposedly of a cardiac event. However, no autopsy was made public, and no toxicology report was ever released. And Afeni's death was another major blow for Eminem. That's when he started digging deeper into all the info she shared with him and connecting the dots. And here's where Diddy comes back in. Multiple security insiders have claimed that Diddy had access to redacted FBI files involving murders of both Tupac and Biggie. But does this mean that Diddy was acting as a state asset without even realizing it, or was he always in on it? Well, Eminem might give us answers to these questions soon. Insiders close to Shady Records claim that Eminem's next project revolves around betrayal, and it's being described as his darkest work since The Eminem Show, but without the jokes. Eminem also recently posted this photo with a cryptic hashtag, Eminem 2025, which means the new project might be released sooner than we think. And then another source said that M's been in contact with mutual friends of Afeni, and that he's documenting everything she told him, including scans of Tupac's letter and studio session notes that were pulled from past releases. But here's what makes it even more serious. Eminem's longtime engineer allegedly received a cease and desist notice last month, warning him not to revive unlicensed content related to Afeni Shakur or Sean Combs. So now everyone's asking the same thing. If Eminem is just making music, why are the higher-ups trying to shut it down? What did Afeni really give him? And most importantly, what will happen if Eminem actually releases it? Because one thing's for sure, if what he's planning is even half as explosive as what Afeni told him, they'll try to bury the truth again. And this means Eminem might be putting his own safety at risk with this project.